I hadn't planned on going out that night. Honestly, my week had been long, and all I wanted was to curl up on the couch with a glass of wine and some mindless show. But my best friend, Mia, wouldn't take no for an answer. "Come on, you deserve it," she had pleaded, tugging at my wrist as if she could physically pull me into excitement. "One night, one drink, one dance. That's all. Don't make me suffer alone." And so, after far too much convincing and a little wine while getting ready, I found myself in a sleek black dress, heels that made my legs look dangerous, and a smoky confidence painted across my lips with red lipstick. The club pulsed with energy the moment we stepped inside. The bass hit my chest like a heartbeat, lights flashing in pinks and blues, bodies swaying together in hypnotic waves. Heat rolled off the crowd, the scent of sweat, perfume, and alcohol mingling in the air. I thought I'd feel out of place, but the rhythm tugged at me, loosening my resistance. Mia was already dragging me toward the dance floor, her blonde hair bouncing like she owned the night. "You need this," she shouted over the music, and maybe she was right. I swayed to the beat, letting the music take over, but my attention wasn't really on the song. It was on him. He was impossible not to notice. Tall, broad shoulders, dark shirt clinging to him like it had been designed for his body alone. His movements weren't wild like the rest of the crowd's. They were controlled, fluid, effortlessly sensual. The kind of confidence that made every eye in the room linger on him at least once. His head was tilted slightly down as if he only let the music speak to him, yet I could feel his presence from across the floor. And then, as if the universe had noticed me noticing him, his gaze lifted. Dark eyes met mine across the strobing lights, and for a moment, I swore my heart forgot its rhythm. He didn't smile. Not at first. He just looked deep and steady, as though he were already inside my head. And then slowly, like the hint of a secret, the corner of his mouth curved upward. It was barely anything. But God, I felt it in every inch of my body. I tore my gaze away, suddenly self-conscious, pretending to laugh at something Mia said. My fingers brushed the side of my drink, condensation cool against my skin, and I tried to ground myself. But when I dared to look again, he was still watching me. The DJ shifted tracks, one song fading into another. Then it came, the one. It started with a beat so sultry, so dangerously slow, that the energy on the dance floor changed instantly. Bodies moved closer, hips swayed deeper, the crowd collectively leaning into desire. And that's when he moved. Not toward anyone else. Not toward a group. Straight toward me. Every step was deliberate, powerful, confident. I felt the air thicken as he cut through the crowd, never breaking eye contact, as though this song had been meant for us alone. My pulse quickened. My lips parted. Every instinct screamed at me to look away, to play it cool, but I couldn't. The closer he got, the more I felt the heat of something I couldn't name, something primal, raw, magnetic. When he reached me, he didn't speak. He didn't have to. He just extended a hand, palm up, an invitation written in silence. And without a second thought, I gave him mine. The moment his hand closed around mine, the world around us seemed to blur. The crowd, the flashing lights, even Mia's voice calling my name, all of it faded beneath the pull of his touch. His palm was warm, his grip firm, but not possessive. Just enough to say, "You're mine for this song." He drew me toward him, the space between us collapsing until I could feel the heat radiating from his body. My breath caught when his hand brushed my waist, steadying me as the sultry beat threaded through the air. "Dance with me," he murmured, his voice deep, velvety, sliding over my skin like liquid heat. I nodded, words lost somewhere in my throat, and let him guide me into the rhythm. His movements were effortless, a predator's grace in every sway of his hips, every roll of his shoulders. I followed, my body aligning to his as though we had always been meant to move together. His touch lingered low at my back, fingers splayed, sending sparks racing down my spine. I could smell him now, clean, musky, a trace of something dark and intoxicating. My chest rose and fell too quickly, but it wasn't just the dance. It was him. I tilted my head up, meeting his gaze again. Those dark eyes were closer now, so close that I could see the flecks of gold catching in the light. He didn't look away, not even for a second, and the intensity made my knees weak. "You move like you were made for this song," he said, his lips grazing the shell of my ear as he leaned closer, his breath hot against my skin. I shivered. Or maybe we were made for the same song. I whispered back before I could stop myself. That smile, the one I'd caught a glimpse of earlier, spread wider, sharper now. And he pulled me closer. The music wrapped around us like silk, every beat syncing with the push and pull of our bodies. My hips brushed his, my hand resting against the hard line of his chest. His heartbeat thudded beneath my palm, steady and strong, while mine felt like it was ready to tear through my ribs. "Tell me your name," he demanded softly, though it wasn't harsh. It was a request dressed as a command. "Lena," I breathed, feeling my lips brush against his jaw as I spoke. "Lena," he repeated, rolling it over his tongue as if he wanted to taste it. "I'm Adrian." Adrian. The name fit him too perfectly. Dark, strong, dangerous. The song deepened, and so did we. His hand slid from my back to my hip, pressing me against him until every subtle movement was a delicious torture. I felt the heat rising between us, my breath hitching each time his thigh brushed mine, each time his fingers curled tighter against my body. Our eyes locked again, and I knew it wasn't just the music making me burn. It was him. The stranger, who wasn't a stranger anymore, the one who had walked across the dance floor like fate had guided him. I licked my lips nervously, and his gaze dropped to catch the movement. His pupils darkened, his jaw tightened, and for a moment, I thought he might kiss me right there, in front of everyone. But instead, he teased. Adrian's lips hovered dangerously close, just a breath away from mine. "Careful, Lena," he said lowly. "One song is all it takes." My pulse stuttered. One song for what? His smile was wicked now, his eyes locking me in place. "To lose yourself." And just like that, his hand slid lower, his grip bold, his body pressing tighter into mine as the song reached its chorus. I gasped, heat flooding through me, my fingers clutching his shirt like it was the only thing keeping me standing. We danced as if no one else existed. Every beat was an excuse to touch, to tease, to explore just enough without crossing the line. Yet both of us knew we were towing it, daring it, hungry for more. And deep down, I knew this song wouldn't be enough. Not for me. Not for him. The song had me in its grip, but Adrian had me in his. Every move, every subtle brush of his body against mine, sent a new wave of heat crashing over me. I should have pulled away, created distance before I drowned in him. But I didn't want to. I wanted to fall deeper, to let myself burn. The beat slowed, the melody dark and pulsing, and Adrian leaned down until his lips hovered by my ear. "Come with me," he whispered, his voice rough with want. Before I could answer, he was already guiding me through the crowd, his hand strong around mine. We slipped past swaying bodies, through the haze of lights, until he pushed open a side door that led to a dim hallway lined with velvet curtains. The music was still loud, but muffled here, replaced by the pounding of my own heartbeat. Adrian stopped, turning to face me. The shadows clung to him, making him look even more dangerous, more irresistible. He stepped closer, his chest brushing mine, his breath hot against my lips. "Tell me to stop," he said softly, almost like a warning. My hand slid up his chest, fingers curling into the fabric of his shirt. "Don't you dare stop." That was all he needed. His mouth crashed against mine, hot and demanding, swallowing the gasp that tore from my throat. His kiss was everything at once, hungry, rough, desperate, yet somehow achingly tender. My lips parted, granting him entrance, and his tongue tangled with mine in a dance far more intoxicating than anything on the floor. I melted into him, my back pressing against the wall as he caged me in with his body. His hands roamed, one gripping my waist, the other sliding up to cradle the back of my neck, as if he needed me closer, as if there wasn't already no space left between us. The taste of him, warm, heady, addictive, left me dizzy. My body moved instinctively, arching into his, chasing his heat. His thigh pressed between mine, coaxing a moan from me that I couldn't hold back. He pulled back just enough to look at me, his lips swollen, his eyes dark and burning. "You feel that, Lena? That fire?" I nodded, breathless, my nails digging into his shoulders. His hand slipped lower, gripping my thigh, lifting it slightly to press me harder against him. "That's just the beginning," I gasped, my head falling back against the wall as his mouth trailed down my neck, hot, open kisses leaving a path of fire across my skin. The scrape of his teeth made my stomach twist with hunger, my body begging for more. The hallway felt too exposed, but that only made it more thrilling. Anyone could walk by, pull aside the curtain, see me trembling under his touch. The danger made me shiver, made me ache. "Adrian." My voice was barely a whisper, but he heard it, pulling back just enough to meet my gaze again. "Say you want this," he demanded, his thumb stroking my cheek, his intensity nearly undoing me. "I want this," I breathed. "I want you." His growl was low, primal, and then his mouth was on mine again, harder this time, as if my words had unleashed something raw inside him. His hands explored, memorizing every curve, every line of me, and I gave myself to the moment completely. The world outside didn't matter. The music, the people, even Mia, all of it was gone. There was only Adrian. His mouth, his hands, his fire consuming me, pulling me into a place where nothing existed but us. And as the song shifted into another beat beyond the walls, I knew I was already lost. I don't know how long I stayed pressed against that wall, lost in Adrian's mouth, in the feel of his hands holding me like I belonged to him. Minutes? Hours? Time didn't exist in that hallway. There was only heat, only hunger, only the pulse of music and blood racing through my veins. When he finally pulled back, his forehead rested against mine, his breath ragged and hot. His hands still framed my face, thumbs brushing softly over my skin, a contrast to the wild way he had just kissed me. "Damn, Lena," he murmured, his voice low and rough. "You're going to ruin me." I let out a shaky laugh, though my body still trembled. "I think you're doing a pretty good job of ruining me first." His smile returned, softer this time, his eyes warming in a way that made me ache even more. He leaned in, kissing me again, slower now, lingering, like he was memorizing the shape of my lips. When he pulled away, he didn't step back. He stayed close, his thumb tracing my bottom lip as though he couldn't bear to let go. For a moment, the world around us settled into silence. I could almost forget we were still in a crowded club, just behind a velvet curtain. But then reality slipped back in. The muffled thump of bass. The distant cheer of voices. Somewhere out there, Mia was probably looking for me. I swallowed, forcing myself to catch my breath. "We should probably get back out there." "Probably," he agreed, though his body didn't move an inch. His gaze lingered on me, intense, searching. "But I don't want to let you go." The sincerity in his voice caught me off guard. This wasn't just lust, it was something heavier, something that pulled at my chest as much as it did my body. "I'm not going anywhere," I whispered, surprising myself with how much I meant it. Adrian exhaled, almost like relief, and finally stepped back, though his hand slid down to capture mine again. He laced our fingers together as if to prove he wasn't done with me yet. He guided me back toward the dance floor, and when the curtain lifted, the crowd came rushing back into view, people laughing, spinning, bodies moving to the beat. But it felt different now. I felt different. The song had changed, the tempo faster, lighter, but I barely heard it. Adrian pulled me back into the music, and this time when our bodies moved together, it wasn't just teasing or testing. It was claiming. His hand never left mine, his touch never strayed too far. Every once in a while, he'd lean down to press a quick kiss to my temple, my jaw, the corner of my lips, tiny promises that the fire between us wasn't finished, not even close. And God, I didn't want it to be. When the night finally began to wind down, the crowd thinning, Adrian leaned close once more, his lips brushing the curve of my ear. "This doesn't end here," he said, his voice thick with certainty. "I need to see you again." Soon. I shivered, my body already agreeing before my mouth could. I want that too. He smiled, and this time it wasn't wicked or teasing. It was genuine, almost boyish, though no less devastating. We exchanged numbers, fingers lingering far longer than necessary over my phone screen, reluctant to let go. And when he kissed me one last time before disappearing into the night, it wasn't rushed or desperate. It was a promise. As I stood there, heart still racing, lips swollen, skin tingling from every place he had touched me, I realized something that made my breath catch. One song, one touch. That was all it had taken to change everything. And deep down, I knew this was only the beginning.